So Lewis Hamilton takes the checkered flag in Monaco for yet another victory, his fourth victory in 5 races. He had to do it the hard way, however, but at least the outcome was a bit better than what it was all the way back in 2015 when he did pit from the lead. He came back out behind the leaders. This time round, it wasn't the case. He stayed out for what it was like 63 laps on those medium set of tyres. I mean, it was absolutely what a drive it was by Lewis Hamilton. Max Verstappen was all the way up his gearbox throughout. I'll probably say about the 70% of that race. Very, very good result. It also means that the Mercedes dominance is probably over for now, anyways. So the race classifications for the 2019 Monaco Grand Prix goes as Lewis Hamilton finishes in first place, Sebastian Vettel goes home in second place, Mercedes 1-2s are now over. Valtteri Bottas in third place. Max Verstappen goes from second to fourth because of that time penalty, that 5 second time penalty that he got for an unsafe release, which I'll get more onto a little bit later on. His teammate Pierre Gasly comes home in fifth place, a very, very good result from Pierre. Sixth from Carlos Sainz, 2 Toro Rossos, Danny Kvyat in seventh. Alexander Albon in 8th, solid result for them. Daniel Ricciardo in 9th place. Romain Grosjean rounds off the point in 10th place. That's two 10 points. That's 2 10th places Romain Grosjean has got after a season where the first 5 races, or the first 4 races, he didn't even score a single point. So progress coming for Romain Grosjean in many ways than one. Lando Norris misses out on the points, coming home in 11th place. Kevin Magnussen in the Haas in 12th place. Sergio Perez in the Racing Point 13th place. Nico Hulkenberg, very, very disappointing race in 14th. George Russell, solid result in 15th place. Nowhere near the points, but at least it's not last. 16th is Lance Stroll in the Racing Point. 17th, Kimi Raikkonen in Alfa Romeo, his 300th Grand Prix. Very, very disappointing result from him today. Could have done a lot better. The race didn't really go his way. Left out a long time on the tyres. I think it was like 45 laps. I think it was before he actually came in. Held up a lot of the guys behind, similar to what Giovinazzi had in the Australian Grand Prix. He was left out a bit too long, and he was just left fighting for nothing really. He was just holding up loads of cars, and that actually hindered a lot of people's races in the midfield. Ron Kubica in 18th place, Giovinazzi in 19th place. Giovinazzi, his future is very much in doubt, isn't it? He's not doing well for the Alfa Romeo team. He's linked, for being demoted already. Personally, it's the way he's going at the moment. It's just, I can't see him lasting the season, to be fair. But let's see how it goes, anyways. Only one retirement was obviously Charles Leclerc, the hometown boy. Very, very disappointing weekend all round. Not only for him, but for Ferrari. The best they can get out of it is the second place from Sebastian Vettel. So the race gets underway. Nothing really happens at the start. Normally there's a lot of drama. Nothing really. Max Verstappen tries a little cheeky move on the inside of Valtteri Bottas. It didn't come off, and then the guys just running away up towards the rest of the lap. I think there was a bit of a contact between the Racing Point and another car. I can't remember who it was at the time. But apart from that, it was pretty much straightforward. I mean, quite surprising for Monaco, to be fair. So there should have been a lot more drama. But then again, this is F1 2019. I've only ever had one exciting Grand Prix. But I mean, this one was actually quite up there. It's the best one we've had so far in recent races. So obviously, Charles Leclerc starts his mad charge from 16th place. He goes up the grid, starting ticking off some cars, 15th and 14th place. He's stuck behind the Haas of Romain Grosjean for quite a few laps. Tries to move on the inside into Raskas, a Jules Bianchi-esque move. He pulled off a similar kind of move in 2014. I think it was on one of the caterings, probably Kobayashi, I think it was, back then. So a very similar move to them. To him, sorry. Very obviously absolutely stunning move, and Sky was actually on talking to Gunter Steiner at the time, so it was a bit like, oh god, kind of awkward that. But again, stunning move from Charles Leclerc, and you're thinking, yes, right. You can tell how hungry he is to be able to get up from up 4 positions to be able to score some decent points after a shocking qualifying session. But from Ferrari, it's Ferrari's fault, not Charles Leclerc's. But I mean, that was just absolutely embarrassing from Ferrari yesterday. So anyways, he comes across Nico Hulkenberg to try and take off some more drivers to overtake. Same kind of move. It doesn't pay off. It doesn't hit Hulkenberg. He hits the barriers, causes them a right rear puncture. He's got to do the majority of the lap with that puncture. It's just getting worse and worse and worse. It didn't look like a puncture at first, but then as the race went on, you could see how slow he was going, coming into the hairpin. The hotel hairpin, I think it's called, and just seeing how slow it was, and he still had a long way to go, leaving debris all over the place. Safety car came out, and Charles Leclerc had a lot of floor damage. He came back out, went in the pits, came back out, and then came back in the pits again saying, guys, I can't drive this car, it's just so bad. And that was pretty much it. And it was so disappointing to see Charles Leclerc retire from his home Grand Prix in a Ferrari. And to be fair, just capitalised on what a shocking weekend it has been for him. So hopefully in Canada next time out, he'll be able to have a good result at a track where Lewis Hamilton is just absolutely unstoppable at. But let's see what happens next weekend for him. And then this is where the whole strategy thing comes into play. So Hamilton pits. He stays on the same kind of tyres. He stays on the medium set of tyres. The other drivers coming on the hardest set of tyres. I think it was Verstappen, Leclerc, Verstappen, Vettel, and Bottas. Bottas slowing down quite a lot, holding up the pack because Mercedes were double stacking. There isn't that a lot of time between the pit entry and Mercedes' pit garage. So obviously Bottas would have probably had to stop behind Hamilton, costing him even more time. So Bottas comes in, gets the pit stop underway, obviously everything runs off cleanly. He goes, so does Vettel. Verstappen, however, he comes out, makes a slight bit of contact with Bottas in the pit. Red Bull did release him a bit late. I do agree that it was an unsafe release. I just find it annoying how the driver gets penalised for it and not the team, because it's not Verstappen's fault, because he's just looking at the green light, waiting for it to go, and then he's just released away. It's the team, not him. So it's a bit shame. It's a bit good that way. But anyways, that is the rules anyway. So we knew that was going to be coming. So everyone was like, right, then the next round of pit stops, Verstappen would take it then, or he would try and, breach out a big of a gap between the Ferrari of Vettel and the Mercedes of Bottas to be able to get get that 5 seconds difference and to be able to maintain position at come the end of the race. And that was pretty much where all the drama lasted. Really, it was all focusing on Hamilton, Verstappen, Vettel and Bottas. Four-way fight for that victory. Any one of them could have taken victory. There was hints of rain. I think a lot of people were just hoping for rain, when realistically we all knew it was never going to come. There was a couple of spots of rain here and there. Bono coming on the radio at Hamilton saying, okay, there's rain in the air, there's patches of rain here and there, we've got spotters all over the track. And I think Hamilton was just getting more and more frustrated at the fact that he's on, even though he's on a quicker set of tyres, but he's got to drive slowly to maintain those tyres, otherwise they would have been completely gone and they would have just literally exploded on him probably about 5 laps towards the end if he had been on super Hamilton-esque pace, if that was the case. But yes, so he obviously, Hamilton just holding back Verstappen lap after lap after lap, and about 3 laps to go, Vettel does an absolute outrageous move on the inside, just out on the outskirts of the tunnel, hitting that chicane, and Hamilton, well, they make contact. Hamilton has to go over the chicane. Verstappen knew that was it. That was pretty much race over with. Vettel had a little look, but realistically, Vettel was complaining about rear tyre temperatures. So obviously you had to look after that. Bottas was knocking at the door for that P2 for another Mercedes 1-2. That didn't come about. So Hamilton crosses the line in first place. As like I said, his 4th win in 5 races. So Mercedes keep on dominating the season, but at least now it's not a 1-2. But Ferrari realistically had a very, very poor race weekend. To be fair, they were lucky to be able to get this P2, because it could have been P3 and it could have been a lot less should if Bottas didn't hold everybody up and cost him a position, because that's what more or less cost Valtteri Bottas potentially a race win, but also a podium position as well. Because I can imagine if Bottas was in that P2, they would have said, right, okay, Bottas, you overtake Hamilton, because at least that Bottas can still get away and Mercedes can still get maximum point, and Hamilton could fend off the rest of the pack, and Mercedes could have still had that 1-2 in place, and that would have hindered Hamilton a little bit. But the way those two work, and they have got a very, very good team spirit, so I believe it would have worked quite well. But that wasn't the case anyways, and that was pretty much it really. Obviously you had that bit of drama at the start when I think it was Rob Kubica got tangled by Giovinazzi, who had a similar kind of move. This is when Leclerc was still in the race. He had a similar kind of move, and it just didn't pay off. And again, this is what I was saying at the start about Giovinazzi just being, I don't know, he's not cutting it out, is he? I mean, he hasn't scored a point this season. He has been unlucky, and there is still time. But Kim Raikkonen's scored at every race apart from the last 2 races, of course. But Raikkonen's done a lot better job, and the car is good. It's not like it's like a Williams kind of car. The car is more than capable of scoring points. So I think Giovinazzi should be doing a bit better. I think if he keeps his kind of form up in the first half of the season, I think his position will come under review. I can see talks of Mick Schumacher taking his place. I don't think that will be the case. I think the other driver will be, what's his name? Is it Illot? I think Illot is that his name? I'm not too sure. But I think he probably might take his place this season. But like, I can slowly in the horizon, slowly start to see Mick Schumacher replacing Giovinazzi headlines very, very soon. But it wasn't really a brilliant Grand Prix at the end of the day. There was that drama, as I said, throughout the course of the race with Hamilton fending off Verstappen. But other than that, it was a very, very quiet Grand Prix. Daniel Kvyat getting a career best from Toro Rosso in 7th place. Alexander Albon in 8th place. That's a very, very good result for them. Ricciardo salvaging some points in 9th place. Carlos Sainz in 6th place. Very, very good result from him. Pierre Gasly was my one to watch in the preview. I thought Red Bull would have done better, even though, alright, Verstappen got the penalty, and he would have got a P2 should he have stayed in that position. That would have been a good result. But I thought, Gasly should have done more, I believe. But either way, I think it's still a very good result from Pierre Gasly, getting in 5th place as well, getting some decent points as well. So his run of good form continues. So my rating, I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10. I think this race could have been better because there was only one retirement. There's normally more safety cars. There's normally more drama. So if Leclerc hadn't have hit the barrier, everyone would have finished, and then we would have been like, boring race. We wouldn't have that drama at the start. Throughout the duration of the race with Hamilton and Vettel, Hamilton and Verstappen. Sorry. So the race could have been a lot better, a lot worse, but also could have been a lot better. Lyle's he sent me his rating. He sent me a rating of 8.5 out of 10. His driver of the day, Max Verstappen. Personally, I would have yes, all right, Verstappen, but I also wanted to give it to Lewis Hamilton as well because Hamilton drove brilliantly. We gave Ricciardo driver of the day last year for doing a similar kind of thing. All right, he had a much more a bigger problem, 160 less horsepower, if you remember last year, for about, not as long as Hamilton had to fend off, but it was still quite a decent amount of laps. He had to keep that Mercedes behind him, but he still gave him driver of the day for fending off. It is still a good skill, to be able to defend from a young, hungry, fast driver like Verstappen, who knows that he has to get ahead of Hamilton and to be able to maintain a 5-second gap if he wants to keep a decent position in the race. So I'll agree with Lyle on this one. I'll agree with Formula One as well. They said Max Verstappen to be driver of the day. I'll say Max Verstappen, but I also do want to say Lewis Hamilton for a superb drive. And obviously this weekend, marking the remembrance of Niki Lauda, passed away last Monday. Still sad times. Everyone wearing the Niki Lauda caps, the red caps in tribute of him before the race, before the minute silence, before the drivers' parade, and then obviously the yachts sounding the horn straight after the race. Nice tribute from everyone all weekend. Next up is the Canadian Grand Prix in 2 weeks' time, a very late one if you are from the UK as well. Looking forward to that one. I do like the Canadian Grand Prix. Hamilton dominated track. But can anybody else conjure up a surprise? Do you think that, is the Mercedes 1-2, is this over now? Can Ferrari actually mount a challenge? Can Red Bull put their foot in the door? Or do you think this is just a one-off? Do you think that Mercedes still have the best car? Well, of course they do. I know that. But do you think this will knock them off the stride now they haven't got a 1-2? No, I don't think so. I think Mercedes will come back even stronger in Canada in a couple of weeks' time. Anyways, this is about wrap up this review. Thank you very much for watching. If you're new around here, then please like and subscribe as well. Go and check out the F1 Debate Show, which came out yesterday, where I've just discussed 3 topics: the South African Grand Prix, Lewis Hamilton skipping the media press conference in Monaco, and Daniel Ricciardo at Renault. Obviously, very, very good result from him today in 9th place. The preview, if you want to go check that out, obviously it's irrelevant now, but if you want to go and watch that, then please do. And don't forget to check out F1 Debate Shows next Saturday, where Lyle and myself will be back. There'll be both of us back, so everything will run back to normal, hopefully smoothly, and then check us out again for the next race weekend, which is in Canada. Previous reviews and the F1 Debate Show for that weekend. Go and check us out as well. But as I said, guys, thank you very much for watching, and until next time, I'll see you later.